Hey, welcome back. Can't thank you enough for being a viewer, and if you're a subscriber, awesome. If this is your first time here, welcome to the party. I hope you learned something, because a big part of what we do is try and share some insight, some experience, maybe a joke or a story, something that will, in the long run, help you become a better pilot. Today, I'd like to talk about viewer emails or viewer comments. Almost every video we do, Pat and I, or me by myself, I encourage you to leave comments below because we really do read them, as do other viewers. Some of them are entertaining. Some of them are very flattering. Some of them are just acknowledging some information that was worthwhile. And every once in a while, there's one that's just downright mean. And frankly, maybe it's a little perverse, but I kind of enjoy those. Consider this one. We just did a video not too long ago called Dumb on the Radio. And one of our viewers responded with this. Lots of talking, ellipse, ... 3 minutes in and nothing. Guys, some of us are very young and don't have time for the boomer giggle that destroyed our country. Just state the facts and be professional. Now, how can you not love a comment that contradicts itself so blatantly as this one does? I apologize for Pat and I being senior citizens. Sorry, but you can't fly for 30 or 40 years and be in your 20s. It just doesn't work. And it is ironic that he says we're young and don't have time, because when you're young, time is what you do have. Pat and I don't have time. And of course, the idea that giggling has ruined our country, that the fact that Pat and I enjoy each other's company and we let you listen in on our conversations, and we encourage you to listen in on our conversations because you might learn something. We might learn something from each other. It's just the exchange of information. If you really need just the Cliff Notes version, just bullet points, well, good luck to you. But there's not deep insight in that. There's just the memorization of information. And as you know, rote memorization is the lowest level of learning. I appreciate you commenting, but you might want to up your game a little bit and shoot for maybe the understanding and application levels. I'm just saying. Now, because Pat and I both live in the hurricane zone, Pat in Houston, Texas, where they just had a hurricane not long ago, me in Central Florida, where we have them fairly frequently. It just happens, and it's okay. But we did a video about the possibility of moving your airplane out of the way of the storm. Some people like that idea. Some people thought it was too much trouble. But we got this comment, which I really enjoyed. So say you do want to move that airplane out of the area. Take a look at FAR 61.113, Private Pilot Privileges and Limitations. Can you pay a private pilot to take that aircraft out of the area and bring it back in later? The same as what the insurance company would have paid. The short answer is no, you can't. The longer answer is no, you can't, because 61.113 specifically says you can't pay a private pilot. You've got to be a commercial pilot or an airline transport pilot to be paid for flying an airplane. And that even has restrictions. You can't be paying somebody to fly a rented airplane. It has to be your airplane. You do have some flexibility, however, just like you could lend somebody your car if you wanted to. And even in a hurricane situation, you have a really nice car, you want to get it out of the area, you could ask somebody, hey, you want to just drive my car a few hundred miles inland, make sure we're good, and then come back later? You could even say, hey, I've got an Airbnb or a Vrbo or a hotel set up there. I've got an extra bedroom. Go ahead and take it out there, stay overnight, come back. That's not paying a pilot. The pilot would have to pay for the fuel. That's perfectly understandable. They're flying the airplane, but they're also logging the time. The private pilot's getting flight time for the cost of fuel, which is a great deal. The owner of the aircraft is getting their airplane out of the way, hopefully with a private pilot who they really trust, and that might be a private pilot with an instrument rating who's very proficient. In any case, you could use a private pilot to move your airplane, but you can't pay them for it. And I still stand on the reasoning, it's better to put up with 2 or 3 days of inconvenience moving your airplane someplace safe than it is to have to make the insurance claim once the hurricane batters your aircraft into submission. On the flattering side, and these really make me happy, we did a video called Epic Check Ride Fails. Basically, what not to do on your check ride. Pat is a designated pilot examiner. I'm a flight instructor. We've both submitted to plenty of check rides as applicants, and Pat has also done hundreds of them as the examiner. We had something of value to share here, and I'm so pleased that some viewers really took it to heart. Consider this comment. Thanks for putting these videos together. It makes me feel more comfortable knowing that we'll all make a few mistakes, and as long as they aren't epic or major safety issues, I'll be successful. That's largely true. The examiner is not looking for perfection. The examiner is looking for you to be pilot in command, to take control of the flight, to make good decisions, and although they may give you tasks, well, actually they will give you tasks, you take the time to set yourself up. And if you make a mistake, say so. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be in command and in full control of the aircraft, so the examiner never has to intervene for safety reasons. If you can do that, you've got an excellent shot at passing your check ride. And I'm glad some viewers found that information helpful. One video we did that I really enjoyed was called Everyone is Wrong, because everyone is wrong sometimes on some topic. And while that may hurt our feelings and we may need a little therapy or a hug or a pat on the head, it's kind of good to get used to the reality. We all have misunderstandings, and that's why there is reference material. So Pat and I had a discussion about that and how we can overcome being wrong by learning new information, finding good resources, and using them appropriately. That rendered us with this comment. Your channel is like hangar flying, but not having to leave home. Subbed, which means subscribed, which means we appreciate you. Thanks so much. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. Pat and I, we have conversations. We live 800, 1,000 miles apart. We really enjoy each other's company. We just hit it off. Just like you'll find pilots who do the same thing, and we share information. We don't always agree, but we never fight. We just go find the reference because we acknowledge everyone is wrong sometimes, including us. So we go try and find the correct answer so we don't share bad information with you. A different viewer on the same topic shared this very interesting comment. Are you too sure you're not marriage counselors? That sweet, sour, sweet approach works pretty well at home too. You know, it really would. Sweet, sour, sweet is something Pat introduced, and it really takes place in that post-flight debrief where you're critiquing someone's performance. And the way you want to do that is not getting in their face and yelling at them. It's not acting like you're superior and they're a moron. We offer some congratulations on the things you've done well. We get into the parts that you need to work on a little bit because that wasn't really up to snuff, and here's some information that you might want to study. And then we end off with, hey, you're making progress, and you are making progress. So go home with your head held high. As a matter of fact, let's book that next lesson before you go because you're making progress. That's great. This is all true. You know, the basics of dealing with other people, the politics of humanity. I'm not talking about government, but how people interact with each other. It's not that complicated. You don't have to fight all the time. You can critique someone in a pleasant manner that gives them insight and motivates them to up their game without making them feel as if they've been belittled or insulted in any way. That's an important thing for a flight instructor. That's why we pass that along. A lot of the content we produce here at MadPropsAero is intended for the average general aviation pilot. Some of it is aimed directly at the student pilot, and let's face it, we're all student pilots on some level. We're always trying to improve our skills and our knowledge base, but every once in a while we do a video specifically for flight instructors because flight instruction is a great responsibility. To be a good flight instructor does require that you take the job seriously, that you treat yourself as a professional, and that you treat your students, your learners, as if they are a valuable part of that deal. We did a video that might surprise some people titled, When Should You Fire Your Student? Because there are people who really aren't taking the flight training process seriously, which wastes the instructor's time, wastes the student's time and money, and you're not going to make the progress you need to. While we get no joy out of sharing information like that, it is important because a lot of flight instructors don't have a mentor. They don't have somebody to guide them along and let them know, This might not be you. This might be the student. Here's how you tell, and here's some of the things you can do about it, which got this comment coming our way. As someone who's preparing for CFI training and has also had various non-flying jobs, this was very insightful. I feel like a lot of these concepts translate to the job world too, when deciding someone is a great hire or not. Additionally, it's helping me to learn how to be a better learner and a successful CFI. Well, that's the whole point, Cadet Clark 1996. If we can share information that makes you more confident and gives you the ability to treat your students better, to prepare them for success, well, then we're all in good shape, because being a good CFI makes you a better pilot. Being a bad CFI makes you a real risk factor. Frankly, you're letting people fly and not giving them the information they need, or you're irritating them. And let's face it, many of us have had that bad CFI who really wasn't interested in our progress as much as they were their logbook and their checking account. This is just one of those examples of a video that really was intended for people just like Cadet Clark 1996. Be a better CFI. Have some confidence. Learn how to go about it. And hopefully you have a better experience, and so do your students. Unfortunately, every now and then, there is metal that gets bent in aviation. Often, this is preventable. And that's kind of what we try to do when we present videos, episodes that cover accidents, incidents, things that cause metal to go boom. And we did do a video called Keep It on the Runway, or Crunch. And we used for an example an aircraft that was landing and the pilot didn't have great rudder control, actually did go off the runway, kind of panicked, hit a hangar. It was bad. But it got us this comment, which we really appreciate. I did my first 55 hours in a tailwheel Piper Pacer. It beat me up and down the runway for 12 hours. Then I kind of figured it out and soloed at 18 hours. So thankful for Dave at Columbia Aviation Center, Kilo Sierra Papa Bravo. Best instructor ever. I love that. Somebody who years later respects the fact that their instructor really put in the time, helped them out, and flying a tail dragger is much more challenging than flying a tricycle gear airplane on the ground. In the air, exactly the same. You won't even notice it. But on the ground, that tail dragger requires a lot more thought, much more in-depth understanding of what the forces on the airplane are doing, what the wind could do, and moving those feet, keeping those rudder pedals nice and loose so you have really good control, thousands of little corrections instead of massive occasional ones. We really love it when you comment. We do. Thanks so much for being a part of this journey with Pat and myself. I hope this is helpful, and I hope this episode encourages you to go ahead and click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and seriously, leave us comments down below. We love to read them. We often respond to them, and it would be great to have some insight into what you're thinking while you're watching these videos and while you're out flying. So until next time, go out there and be safe, have some fun, and be flying. We'll catch you right back here next time.